Measure what matters: How Google, Bono, and the Gates Foundation Rock the World with OKRs by John Doerr. In 1999, legendary venture capitalist John Doerr visited Google, a company that was less than a year old and had no real business plan, but had big ambitions for a future with tens of billions of dollars in annual revenue. Convinced by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, John Doerr made the biggest bet of his 19-year venture capital career, investing nearly $12 million on the condition that Google would be managed by OKRs. This was John Doerr's most successful investment, and he created a new management methodology in the tech industry that resulted in world-class execution. Google was the 18th largest search engine in the world, and it was only a small new company. A market capitalization of $10 billion was the height that only a unicorn company could reach. But the author saw their ability, but did not trust their execution. He said, "To invest money can, but there is a condition: your team must use OKR to manage." Of course, Google accepted, and to this day Google still uses this method, and it is said that the author invested nearly $12 million to subsidize Google that year. You can see how much the author believed in the power of OKR, not just in general, but in the amount of $12 million. The first part of the book explains the 4 superpowers of OKR: focus, fit, tracking, and stimulating potential. The second part discusses how OKR can be utilized in the new world of work and proposes the CFR, conversation, feedback, recognition, with OKR as a set of tools for continuous performance management. In the process of introducing OKR, many successful examples of using OKR are interspersed, from Google, Intel, Remind, MyFitnessPal, Intuit, Google Chrome, Google YouTube, etc., to tell the readers what benefits OKR will bring to you, and how these companies are utilizing OKR to help you. OKRs are like a Swiss knife, suitable for all environments, but currently the most widely used OKRs are in the technology industry. Disadvantages of the KPI system. Although the KPI system provides a clear driving force for our work, your performance is directly linked to the results. The result of the numbers-based system is that most people are only focused on their own and their department's performance, and may not pay attention to what other departments are doing, and of course, they have no clear idea of what the upper management's focus is. Organizational vision? That's one of the slides that clients come to us with. Business philosophy? That's just a decoration hanging on the wall. As a result, not only are the various departments unclear about the status of each other's work and the extent of their influence on each other, but there is also a high degree of departmental selfishness, which creates many barriers to horizontal communication. Even though leaders have a highly idealized business vision, it is difficult for them to communicate it down the line for every employee to understand. When both horizontal and vertical communication are not working well, the company will face a big business crisis in the end. Moreover, the KPI system only requires employees to achieve a certain number, but they don't know the meaning behind the number, nor do they know where the number comes from. Very often, it is a direct order from the boss. Without knowing what they are fighting for and without the power to change, employees are naturally less motivated to work, and poor performance is a common result. After experiencing the problems caused by the KPI system, the term OKR has become popular around the world in the past few years. What is OKR? OKR was first developed from the theory of management by objectives, MBO, proposed by management guru Peter Drucker in 1954. After Intel CEO Andy Grove refined MBO, he further proposed OKR theory in 1999, and OKR was later introduced to Google, LinkedIn, and other well-known internet companies, and has since been popularized and attracted the attention of more and more companies. In OKR, O refers to objective. KR refers to key result. OKR means to set an objective first, and then set the corresponding key results for your objective. Key results are used to measure whether the goal is achieved or not, and a goal may consist of 2 to 4 key results. Google is not only the most well-known success story of using OKR goal management method, but even set up a special website rework to help OKR work method. In this website, this is how to introduce OKR. Objectives are ambitious, even to the point of making people feel a little uncomfortable. Key results are measurable and can be easily evaluated with numbers. Google uses 0 to 1.0. To summarize, the relationship between O and KR is, in order to achieve O, objective, what KR, key results, do I need to achieve? John Doerr was involved in Grove's promotion of the OKR system at Intel, and has continued to promote the concept and application of OKR ever since, making him a missionary of OKR. His book OKR Doing the Most Important Thing has become a representative work of OKR-related books. In the book, he mentioned that OKR has 4 major advantages. 1. Focus on the most important things. OKR is not an all-encompassing wish list, nor is it a master list of daily tasks. The focus is on selecting the most effective activities and then focusing on them. 2. Strengthening teamwork. In the OKR system, even the most junior employee can see the goals of every colleague, including the top CEO. Open sharing prevents employees from doing the same thing over and over again and improves the utilization of manpower. Employees who are lagging behind in their progress can receive early assistance from others because of the transparency of their progress. It is also helpful for both horizontal and vertical communication. 3. Review the past and look forward to the future. OKRs need to be tracked on a regular basis to observe the implementation of key results, and you can choose to continue, update, adjust, start a new set of OKRs, or abandon them at the right time. After completing an OKR, you need to reflect on the status of the implementation and then move on to the next OKR cycle. Doyle lists some questions to consider when summarizing the OKR cycle. Did I achieve all my goals? If so, what factors contributed? If not, what obstacles did I encounter? If I did, what factors contributed to it? If not, what obstacles did I encounter? If I reset a goal that I could have met in full, how would I change it? What lessons did I learn that I can use to change my approach for the next OKR cycle? 4. Stimulate potential to achieve breakthroughs. Grove observed an interesting phenomenon. Some people, without any supervision at all, will continuously strive to break through the limits of their own abilities and create their own personal best performance. However, these people are few and far between, and for most people, setting tough goals helps them induce maximum productivity. At Google, the goal is even to pursue products and services that are 10 times better. In this book, Doerr mentions that Google categorizes OKRs into 2 types: goals that are determined to be achieved and goals that are ambitious. Determined goals are tied to business targets, i.e., sales and revenue goals, and must be achieved 100% by a certain deadline. Ambitious goals are large in scale, high in risk, and usually future-oriented. They may be new product development or an innovative project. In Google's case, the average failure rate is 40%. The relative weighting of these 2 types of goals is determined by the culture of the organization and can change depending on the time of year. How does OKR do performance management? Compared with the traditional annual performance appraisal, OKR adopts continuous performance management, and the implementation tool is CFR. Conversation, real communication between managers and employees for the purpose of improving performance. Feedback, peer-to-peer communication for the purpose of evaluating progress and promoting improvement. Recognition, acknowledgement of small and large contributions made by a colleague who deserves recognition. As you can see, CFR, like OKR, emphasizes transparency, communication and teamwork, and the 2 complement each other. As open and honest workplace dialogue becomes an important part of management, the role of managers must change from foreman to coach and mentor. Transparent OKRs allow all wins and achievements to be recognized and acknowledged among colleagues, creating a bond between departments and teams. When a culture of praise becomes the engine, it leads to more people being more engaged in their work, which accelerates the entire company, which is the ultimate goal of OKRs and CFRs. Doerr believes that employee compensation should be decoupled from OKR because they have different rhythms and agendas, with the former being a retrospective evaluation, usually conducted at the end of the year. The latter is an ongoing conversation between leaders and employees. The book gives an example of why compensation and OKR should be discussed separately. Employee A sets a challenging goal and achieves 75% of the key results. Employee B achieves 90% of the key results, but he doesn't set goals that test his abilities and misses several important team meetings. Ask, shouldn't employee B receive a bigger bonus than A? As a manager, the answer is no if you want to maintain employee motivation and morale. If goals and pay are tied together, employees will become withdrawn and conservative, unwilling to challenge themselves and pursue more difficult goals. They may even become bored by the lack of challenges at work, and their motivation will decrease, which will ultimately hurt the entire organization. Compared to the common KPI system, the OKR method emphasizes that employees should understand the goals and then focus on achieving the key results, i.e., the important things that need to be accomplished in order to achieve the goals. With consistent direction and transparency, OKRs promote teamwork, regular tracking to ensure progress, and the ability to maximize team potential. 2 keys, O and KR. In OKR, there are 2 important indicators to set, one is objective and the other is key results. Simply put, objective is what do we want to achieve? And key results is how, what should we do? But the author says, this is not enough, you still lack a why, that ignites the core of all actions. Why? So, in terms of goal setting, the author says there are 4 conditions that must be met. Significant, concrete, action-oriented, and inspirational. Like back then, Google's goal was to make the best browser in the world. From this example, you can see that the goal in OKR doesn't need to be grounded, but should be a great dreamer, and follow your desire to make a great wish. The author says that if you know that your goals are achievable when you set them, then there is no need to use the OKR tool. Why can goals be so unrealistic? Because key results will help you pull back to the ground. The principle of formulating key results is in fact the old way of goal setting, the SMART principle. S. Specific, specific. M. Measurable, measurable. A. Attainable, can be realized. R. Relevant, relevant. T. Time-based, time-bound. Let's go back to Google's wishful thinking. How did they set up key results? At that time, the managers chose number of users as the key result to measure whether the goal was achieved or not. By the same time next year, Google Chrome will have 50 million users. Specific? Very specific. Measurable? Of course the number of users is measurable. Realizable? Definitely achievable with the technology they had back then. Relevant? There's a pretty strong correlation between the number of users and whether or not it's the best browser. Time constraints? Same time next year. It took Google 3 years to achieve their goal, but that's the beauty of OKRs. If they didn't have this clear direction and action, they might have switched tracks in the first year without achieving their goal, and we wouldn't have such a great Google Chrome browser. The real key of OKR is the execution level, which is finished in just a few sentences, setting goals and key results. Sometimes, simplicity is powerful. Ideas are worthless, execution is the key. In this era of information explosion, creativity and opportunities abound everywhere, but we also find that many startups are struggling to grow, expand, and accomplish critical tasks. Everyone has an idea, even someone will tell you at any time, but why most of these ideas will not be realized, the reason is very simple, because after you know it, you just know it, but the gap between know and do is the persistence of execution. OKR is a set of goal management methodology, usually on a quarterly basis, through planning, action, checking and adjusting, to help us accomplish the key results and achieve the set goals. Take reading as an example. My goal is to read this book in depth, so the measurements are the following 3 key results. Key result 1, review the book in 3 days. Key finding 2, read the book analytically in 7 days. Key result 3, post a reading note on Medium. In this example, if all 3 key results are accomplished, the goal has definitely been achieved. If not, the OKR is not well designed. In a large organization, the division of labor is very delicate. There are many units supporting the product, such as marketing, sales, customer service, etc. In the concept of Scrum, they all have an impact on the product, and are categorized as stakeholders, and participate in Scrum activities as much as possible when time permits, such as daily Scrum, PBR, sprint review, and so on. They are categorized as stakeholders and participate in Scrum activities as much as possible when time permits, such as daily Scrum, PBR, and sprint review. However, after the team grows bigger, it is difficult to gather so many people in these activities at the same time, and sometimes the situation is even more complicated. The team members may even be cross-country, therefore, it is almost impossible to turn all the people into a team to communicate directly face-to-face, or the cost of communication is very high. OKR is to emphasize that the team or the department has a clear set of OKRs, and through the OKRs, the team can make each other fit together. OKRs emphasize that teams or departments have clearly defined OKRs, and through OKRs, they can connect with each other. If a company does not have consistent universal values and wants to break down hierarchical organizations, OKRs are a way to align the company's overall goals from top to bottom, and to focus on the key results proposed by employees from bottom to top in a hierarchical organization. After understanding the benefits of OKRs, we can all make good use of this tool in our work, at least within the scope of our personal control, focus on the most important things, connect and cooperate with colleagues around us, track progress regularly to replace unreasonable goals, and motivate ourselves if the goals are set appropriately. If you're a manager, this is a great tool for you. In addition to work, life in the establishment of large and small goals can also use this tool to help us more efficiently achieve the desired goals. In this era, everyone can have 1,000 ideas in their heads, but the real value is to put these ideas on the ground to achieve. An OKR is precisely a goal can be crystallized, and then motivate the team to focus on the task and step by step to achieve the tool. We look forward to making our busyness more valuable after understanding and utilizing this tool.